Are you looking for a way to scale your short-term rental business and buy more properties? Well, co-hosting might be the right fit for you. Welcome to the Co-Host Coach podcast with Joe Roney. This episode of the Co-Host Coach is brought to you by Savvy STR Agents. If you're looking to buy a short-term rental, then contact the STR Savvy Agent team at savvy.realty.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Co-Host Coach. I am Joe Roney, and I am excited that you are here with me today. We are here in the peak summer season. It is busy. We are go, go, go. If you have a summer vacation rental market, I am sure you are in the same boat, right? And you're probably thinking to yourself, "Wow, this is getting overwhelming." Right? I'm doing this business all myself. Okay. And you're wearing hats in every aspect of the business that you're doing. And I'm here to talk today about, you don't have to do that. Right. So, the things that we are learning this summer, and I'm right here with you. I'm learning this process and learning how to grow and scale and possibly, add help, employees, VAs, all those different things to be able to help, streamline some things. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this, but I want to talk about a book that I, just got done reading, and it's called The E-Myth. And it's if you have never read it before, I highly recommend it. Okay. And the E-Myth Revisited, whichever one you read, basically what it really talks about is how 70% or 60 to 70% of businesses fail. And we're talking co-hosting businesses and cakes and, contracting businesses and roofing businesses and all these different things, because when you start a business, you are the technician, right? At the end of the day, you are the person that's handling everything, right? So you probably decided to get into this business because you're self-managing a couple of properties or maybe your own short-term rental, and you decided, oh, I could do this really easy and make some extra money. And then you start managing for somebody else, and then you pick up 3 and 4 and 5 properties, and all of a sudden you're like, well, what I used to do in 2 to 3 hours is taking me 20 hours or 25 hours or 30 hours or whatever it may be, right? And as you grow and scale, there's going to be a cutoff point that if you don't hire somebody to help you, you're going to, basically get to a point where you can't grow and scale anymore. And you guys all know my business model is not to be a property manager with, 30, 40, 50, 100 properties. That has never been my goal. It's never been my intention. But I can tell you, even in a busy summer season like we're in right now, there's some days that I don't have enough help, and it takes a little bit of a toll. And I want to, continue to learn how to get some of my time freedom back as I move on and keep growing this business over the years to come. And, what the E-Myth is really talking about is, the reason why the majority of business owners fail is, and I'll tell you, my day is I'm waking up and I'm getting up early and I'm, on the computer sometimes as early as 5 a.m., 6 a.m. and, handling a lot of the, pricing and price labs and revenue management and things like that. And then we slide into the day, and as a real estate agent that's helping people in short-term rentals, as well as, a co-host, I'm talking to clients, putting out fires. A good chunk of my day is texting, phone calls, messaging, maybe writing some offers, doing some inspections. It gets really busy. And then all of a sudden 4 or 5 o'clock rolls around, and that's when I get to sit down and, maybe do some bookkeeping, or, we're bringing on a new property and we're inputting that. And, there's just a lot that goes on. Now, I will tell you that before this year happened, I did hire a virtual assistant earlier this year, and that has really taken a lot off of my shoulders, because there's a lot of things that I was doing myself that I'm able to pass off to somebody else, right? So back to the book that I was talking about, the E-Myth really talks about how, the technician or the person that is starting the business, they don't realize they're not just doing this part of the business, but they also took on 6 or 8 or 10 different hats, and they find themselves working 16, 18, 20-hour days to keep their business afloat. and they're not making that much more money than they did when they were working for somebody else. Okay. So, it's really important, especially if, whether you're new into this business or you are, jumping into this, you're in this business full time and you got 10 plus properties. It is important to make sure that you really think about how you can pass off a lot of those tasks and get some of your time back. And I'm going to bring up another book, and it's called "Buy Back Your Time." And you're doing that by finding the right people and the right tools to help you. And very, very early on, I had a good friend of mine, Michael Dinwiddie, on my podcast, and I, you know, he was one of my first ever mastermind members. And when he was building his co-hosting business, he didn't build a business and then hire help. He hired help and got himself a virtual assistant, and then had that person help him build the business. And today, I just saw him post 2 days ago that he was at his son. He said a year ago he wanted to be able to quit his W-2 job so he could go to his kids' field trips. And 2 days ago, he was taking the day. He was at his son's field trip, and it was one of the coolest things that I've seen, right? Because he truly is living out his goals and his dreams, and he did that by building a business to be able to have help from day one, so he didn't always have to be the one working in the business. He could spend more time working on the business. And that's truly what the E-Myth book is all about, is how can you buy back some of your time from the beginning and work on your business on a daily basis, but not have to be the one that's in the business all the time. And, it's a little bit of a hard thing because, especially, and I've talked about this all the time, what differentiates us from the traditional property manager is that we can do, better revenue management, and we can do better marketing, and we can do better guest communication. And I'm not by no means saying go hire out all of your guest communication, although there's a lot that are doing it that are be really successful at it. And it's something that we're considering, whether we use something like HostBuddy AI or whatever it may be. But we're looking into other forms of scaling this business and growing, but still being able to provide the exceptional experience that we're providing. Okay, so as you're, if you're new to get in this or you're growing this business as we go into the end of summer and into fall, I want you to really think about that, how you can grow this business with the right help. And there are some really amazing virtual assistants out there. There's some great companies out there that can help you hire virtual assistants. And it could be your spouse, it could be your daughter, it could be your son. There's other people out there that you can leverage some of their time to help you get this business off the ground. It's okay not to have to take it all on and do everything yourself. Um, you know, one of the things that we're doing, my wife and I, we obviously do a lot of designs and setups for our co-host clients. And in the beginning, we did a lot of that work ourselves. I put up, tongue and groove ceilings and shiplapped walls and hang all the wallpaper and paint walls. And I'm not saying I'm never doing any of that stuff again, but we're starting to realize that we need to, budget in and factor a little bit more into the owner's budget to hire out some of that stuff, because we don't have the 14 hours to sit and do all of that work all the time. We are running a couple other businesses, and we still want to provide a great experience for not only our guests, we want to provide, a great service for our owners, and, we want to make sure that we design and set up really great houses. So there's got to be some give in there, and there are some really talented people out there that are dying to help you in your business. And I promise you, s- you know, if you wait too long, like I did, because I waited too long to get my first virtual assistant. And, it kind of put me in a little bit of a position there for a while. And now we're kind of in a position where we're catching back up, and I'm not having to spend as much time into business. Don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of time into business, but, we're starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, I'm learning a lot this summer. So as I go into my, you know, third full season, I guess 23 to 45, it'll be next year will be my fourth summer as a co-host. So this is my third summer as a co-host. So next year will be my fourth summer. We're going to change things how we're doing again as we go into that. I've seen a few people post recently And a lot of people are using things like Monday.com or Notion or whatever it is to build out systems and build out processes. And there's some people out there that can help you do it and help you get all this stuff streamlined. And it's something that we're working on as well as we go through this busy summer. So, you know, if you have not read the book, The E-Myth, highly, highly recommend it. If you have not read the book, Buy Back Your Time, I highly recommend it. These are two really great books that are going to help you launch your business in the right direction to where you're not the one putting in the 80 hours a week. Because I promise you, a lot of us are doing this business to get some buy back some of our time, to have some financial freedom, to do the things that we want to do, and it's okay. We have multiple summer trips planned this summer. We're going to Napa Valley, actually next week. Actually, when this airs, I'll have already been there. We're going out to Arkansas. We're going to Colorado. But we're able to do all this on the fly and on the road because I have a great team in place and I can continue to manage my business from wherever I am. And that's one of the great things about this co-hosting business is that we can be very effective and manage really, really good from wherever we are. So check out those two books. Highly, highly recommend. And looking forward to next week when we are hopefully going to have on my newest Savvy STR agent on the call. So tune in and we will see what that's all about. Till then, we'll see you then.